We have strategists Anthony Davis and Corrine Clark. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Great. I'm doing great.
Good. I see the holiday vibes too in your fits. Love to see it. So when it comes to politics, we know that President Trump has indicated that he's giving Ukraine until this Thursday to agree to a peace proposal from the U.S. to end the war in Russia. I want to begin with what you think of that and if you believe it will actually go through as planned. Corrine, I'll start with you and then you, Anthony.
Yeah. Well, I think this is great movement in the effort towards peace between Ukraine and Russia. And I think there's something that we really have to realize when it comes to these negotiations, which is one, Americans have very little appetite to continue funding this war. And especially outside of D.C., there's like less than 0% appetite to continue funding this war. And I think in Ukraine, it's also unpopular. You know, they haven't had an election in a long time. Their leadership is facing allegations of corruption. This is a very unpopular war, both here and in Ukraine. So I think that this movement is positive. This administration has been clear that they have laid the groundwork for negotiations, so Ukraine can make their case as well. But I'm hopeful that they will reach an agreement. I think everyone wants to see peace here.
Anthony?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, the president ran on an agenda that said that he was going to end this war on day one of his administration. And so here we are 300 days later into his administration, and we have the opportunity to broker peace. And so I think I agree that on both sides here in America and also abroad that we definitely want to see this war end. I think that it's also important that, especially on the Ukrainian side, that there are concessions that are put into place that does not weaken their ability to defend themselves into the future, which I know is really important for President Zelensky.
Absolutely. I think most people, I can't find one person who's like, yes, I want the war to go on. It's just how do we get there to that solution and also put them in a position to continue on without the Americans' assistance moving forward. I want to talk about what appears to be a gerrymandering war that's happening ahead of the midterms in many places across the country. We've been covering even moves being made here in Maryland. I want to get your thoughts on that, Anthony.
Yeah, so as we head into the 2026 elections, I think we just heard a clip from Senator Alsobrooks here in Maryland that talked about this is really in response to what we've seen from the Republican side of the aisle in terms of putting forward this fight of redistricting. And I think that the Republican side is starting to read a bit of the writing on the wall as they go into 2026 as we just presided over the longest government shutdown in the history of our country. Americans are worried about how are they going to eat. And so as you go into 2026, a lot of that's being blamed on the Republican Party. And so we're seeing this gerrymandering fight now being put forward to rig the maps to ultimately rig elections for them as they go into 2026. And we see Democratic states, fighting back and pushing back on that fight as well.
Corrine, do you see it that way?
No, not really.
I didn't think so.
You know what? I think that this fight isn't new at all.
Yeah.
This has been happening since the beginning of drawing districts. Like the second that we started drawing maps, gerrymandering was a thing. I think it is the consequence of elections. When Republicans are in control, they usually draw maps to benefit Republicans and vice versa. We've seen Democrats do it over and over again. And you know what we see in the polls? The people, like, more than 50% of Democrats and more than 50% of Republicans support gerrymandering to benefit their own party. So this is not a new fight. We'll continue to see this as long as maps exist. And I do think, you know, it's good to talk about it, good to have the conversation, good to battle it out and get these lines as fair as possible. But this is going to happen forever.
Yeah, the polarization is there for sure. I only have 15 seconds, and I was going to ask you politically what you were thankful for, but now I want to ask you instead, what would you like to be thankful for? What do you want to see happen moving into the new year?
Well, I'm thankful for this administration, and I would like to see the America First agenda excel in the future.
Okay, Corrine, Anthony?
I would agree. I would love to see the American First agenda excel and make things more affordable for the American people, especially as we go into the holidays.
All right, especially coming out of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, affordability is certainly top of mind. Happy early Thanksgiving to both of you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate your insight throughout the course of the year.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's 7